Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Peace, love, and positivity to you. My name is Sohum, and today I'll be reacting to Hannah Welton's Drumeo appearance. This particular one is titled, What's It Like Drumming for Prince? So I think fair to make assumption is we're going to get some conversation about her time with Prince and maybe some performances of Prince tunes as well as some of her own stuff. And also just as it relates to Drumeo and I believe Pianote, which they look like they're part of the same company, but I don't know. Normally they'll bring on drummers and give them a drumless track to hear and then kind of fill in themselves. And sometimes what they'll do is like have a metal drummer listening to like a gospel song or reverse the roles, and you'll hear really cool blended genres and styles. From the perspective of a drummer. So you kind of get to go through their listening and then improvisation and creation process. It's immensely satisfying to watch, probably some of the best music content out there on YouTube. But yeah, I'm excited to jump into this today. But before we do, it needs to be acknowledged that today is unfortunately Prince's death anniversary. So much love to all of you in the Purple Army. Hope you guys are doing well and spending this day, enjoying your life as normally, but also honoring the late great memory of the Purple One, a legend. Anyways, guys, before we finally jump into this today, a massive thank you to Samantha for making this reaction request and for bringing Hannah Welton to the channel. Now, let's jump into it.
First thing he says to me is, "Hi, thank you for coming. I'm Prince. Do you play ping pong?" No, I play the drums. That is why I'm here, sir. The guy was a genius. I don't know that I ever heard an off note. Something was
I think I've said the exact same thing.
One thing that Prince taught me, the space in between the notes is just as funky as the notes themselves. Piano,
so
guitar,
true.
drums. Nobody touched any of those instruments the way that he did. It's just the truth.
So true. I'm very curious to know what's in her mind. She must have so much access and knowledge. Oh. And I love the way that these Drumeo performances are mic'd up. You can so clearly hear the drums. It's different than in a big band sound. I'm not familiar with this song. Oh. Around the world. Wow. I love how expressive she is with her playing. A lot of creative ideas. Are these Hannah's vocals? Oh. I like the melody brightening up here. Oh, she's building. She's hammering it home. Oh, the left hand. Yo. The way her left hand started filling in some additional beats between where you'd expect them to be. Watch this build up again. I am throwing out both of my shoulders playing something like that. I can promise you that. I'm already like one injury away from my shoulder just being done. Attempting this. What a vibe. is going to be fire. Whatever's to come, it's going to hit.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to Drumeo. We've been wanting to have you on here for a very long time, and you are finally here.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's an honor, it's a pleasure, it's a privilege, and all the good things. I'm so happy to be here. It's been a blast.
Awesome. So that track you just heard was an original, actually.
Yes.
Called Women's Intuition that you and your husband wrote together.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Joshua produced it. Actually, funny fact, it's a song about women's intuition, but he even wrote the lyrics. Hey, babe. And I performed it and kind of brought it to life in that way. And
it's exactly what I guessed it was about.
We recorded it, and that's it.
And if you didn't know, Hannah was actually on vocals on that track, too.
Yes.
So, not just drumming.
Not just drumming.
That's awesome. Well, I'll let you catch your breath there for a second. Grab some water. For any of you who aren't familiar with Hannah Welton, she was, I guess, your biggest claim to fame was playing with Prince, which is incredible.
Yeah.
You played with him, and we're going to talk all about
Considering
that
the
in
Prince
this lesson
drummers that
here,
have
but,
existed.
Hannah played with Prince from 2012 to
including Prince
2015 on the Live It Out Loud, or the Live Out Loud?
Live Out Loud.
Live Out Loud tour.
Yes.
And the Hit and Run tours on drums and backing vocals. You performed on the 2014 Prince album Plectrumelectrum with the band 3rd-eyegirl, which was Prince's all-female band, which is really cool.
Yes.
You were in his music videos. You played the Billboard Music Awards. You're an educator, a clinician. You played Rock in Rio with CeeLo.
Yes.
Whole bunch of stuff. So it's an absolute honor to have Hannah here at Drumeo to kind of share what you've experienced. And I mean, you've obviously gained a ton of wisdom through all of those things that you've done.
I need to hear the
Today
stories.
we're talking all about what you've learned drumming with Prince.
Yes.
So obviously that's a big topic. And I mean, the amount of stories that you've had, and even you've told me over the last 2 days, is like we could fill up like 5-6 hours with stories.
At least.
But to start off, like, why don't you tell everyone like how that sort of gig came to be? Like, how did you get the gig with Prince?
Yeah, so I was newly married to my amazing husband, Joshua. This was back in 2011. We were just 21-year-old kids, got married, packed up, moved to Atlanta from Illinois. And at that time, we were serving in the church that we were going to as a part of the teen ministry. And I had gotten this really cryptic and kind of awkward or mysterious email that basically just said something along the lines of, hey, I work for a very well-known musician, and he came across some of your YouTube videos and was wondering if you wanted to audition for an upcoming project. But before we give you any more details, we have to know if you can keep a secret. Okay.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think about, because like I even sometimes have to like make this realization, but with the internet, with this YouTube thing, anybody at any point, at any position in this world can contact you and have done so. Like, and I'm, you know, in this YouTube journey thing coming at it with a very naive set of, you know, experiences, and people who I would have never expected to contact me have done it. And it feels surreal, to be honest. It's like, wait a second. It's not just like a thing on my computer. This is another person, truly another person across the world who I have been inspired by or look up to, or, you know, they are in such close proximity to that musical haven that it just feels like there's like beyond the screen, there's an entire world. And of course that is just the way it is. But to just know that at any point, like she had no idea Prince was going to contact her. Your life can just change with one moment.
Before we give you any more details, we have to know if you can keep a secret. Okay. Y'all, we all know, you know, it's the 2000s. Some weird things are going down in the DMs. So typically I don't even respond to stuff like this. But something in me was just, you know, answer and see what's going on, see what's up. And so I wrote back and I said, hey, you know, thank you. I'm so honored that you like my stuff. Of course I can keep a secret, but I need to know a little bit more about, you know, I need to know a little more details before I commit to anything, something like that. And she wrote back, and it was on a Sunday. We had just come out of church service, but we were still kind of there behind the scenes rehearsing with the teen ministry, the drama, you know, some of the drama stuff and stuff like that. So we were there in rehearsals, and all of a sudden I get this email from her, and she says, okay, great. I work for Prince, and he would love for you to send some audition videos to these songs.
My heart would like
and so I
collapse into itself.
immediately jump around, start running through the hallways of the church like a crazy person, looking for my husband. I'm like, where's Joshua? Have you seen Joshua? Have you seen my husband? Where is he? frantic. I finally find him, and I'm jumping up and down, and I'm like pointing to my phone. Oh my gosh, look at this, it's Prince. I don't know if this is real, but either way, it's totally cool that this is even a possibility. And it turns out it was very real. It was very real and very surreal and amazing.
Boom,
and the
there you
rest
go,
is history.
surreal.
So it was through YouTube.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know like which video he saw or?
You know, he never confirmed it for sure. The only thing that I heard him say at one point in conversation casually with someone else is like, he kind of pointed me out and he said, you know, I had never even seen her play. The first time I heard her or saw her, it was a video of her talking. And that compelled me and like, you know, made me want to reach out and see, you know, who she was and hear.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, the way she talks, she is a breath of fresh air to listen to. So it seems like he didn't even listen to her play. He's like, she seems like a good person. Let's just bring her into the fold and figure it out from there.
Her play and stuff like that. So I think it was some sort of interview. If I had to guess, it was an interview that I did way back in the day with Terry Bozzio. And we were kind of talking about the concept of women or female drummers and how rare it's been in the industry and, you know, sort of some of the flack that I caught coming up as a girl drummer, and I think that might have been what caused Prince to reach out because he was so about girl power.
Very cool.
Right.
So in this lesson, we're
so
talking
on brand
all
for
about
Prince.
things that
Absolutely.
you've learned through your experiences performing and writing, which is amazing that you had. I mean, performing is one aspect, but actually being in the room with him and really seeing the creative genius behind the music that you all created. So that's what we're talking about in this lesson. And the first point, which we talked a lot about in what we filmed this week, was taking notes.
Yes.
So how did that all work
Note-taking.
in your experiences?
Yeah, so you know, I never really, I went to college for 2 years as a jazz performance major. I took theory classes. I knew how to kind of chart things and write things out on manuscript paper, but when it came to the process of learning songs and learning covers growing up, I never really took notes until I started working with Prince, and he recommended it and he asked us to take notes.
Yeah,
and I think it was
so
because
much music.
he knew the amount of music that we were going to be learning and going over, and he just knew for accountability's sake, for the sake of making the process as quick as possible, as easy as possible.
I promise, like, to have all of the details that you need to have in your brain for a Prince song to like be accurately played, there is simply too much to remember, at least if you're early on in your performance of these songs. After like, you know, 20, 25 to upwards of 50 like performances of a song, yeah, you'll get it. But it's also nice to have the sheet music or at least the rough notes in front of you as a visual cue. If you ever need to look back for some reason, you'll have it, and then you'll immediately have that access to that second nature part of your brain that performed the song 50 times. But 50 times, how many songs does Prince have? Tens of thousands? Good luck.
Knew for accountability's sake, for
Hannah has a big
the
brain.
sake of making the process as quick as possible, as easy as possible, if we all had those notes charted or written out, whatever's easiest for us to read and follow along in rehearsals, it would help ease the process of getting all these songs done so we can move on to new things.
Yeah.
And so I really started taking notes working with Prince because he would give us lists and lists of songs. We learned hundreds of songs over the course of those couple years. And had I not taken notes, it probably would have been a lot harder to just be able to remember and go back and reference things in the early stages of learning all of these songs. So taking notes
Literally
is
exactly
so beneficial.
Okay.
Whether you're writing on manuscript paper, you know, technically if you're a theory head and, you know, you do all that nice and neat, that's perfect. But you also don't have to be able to do that to take effective notes. It's about whatever you need to be able to kind of read along quickly and most efficiently. So even if it's just a pen and a paper and you're writing out stuff, whatever you need, but I would highly recommend it.
Love it. Another thing you talked.
That's a very fair point that she brings up here. You don't have to have the 100% to the T music theory version of the sheet music for the song, because that's so much additional detail that you may not need or also won't ever become really practical for you. You get your note taking up to a point where it is efficient for you to take notes using that system. But the moment that the system becomes over encumbered, then there's no use of the system anymore. So to get as much bang for your buck, whatever she did for her note-taking system, that was probably good enough. And I mean, everything sounded great. So
talked about too was kind of your listening approach. Like when you are taking notes before you're in rehearsal and
Yeah.
performing and stuff, like the active listening process that you go through.
Oh, I'm interested.
Yeah,
Let's
so
hear.
I also learned, sometimes the hard way, that I don't know about you guys, but kind of what I've picked up about a lot of drummers is we're so ready to play and the jam and just rock out that a lot of times when we hear a new song, we'll
Guitar
listen to it
players,
for
too.
maybe 8 measures or 16 measures, you know, enough to kind of get one good pass of the form, and then we'll dive in. We'll jump head first, and we'll be grooving, and it may even sound good, it may sound right, but if we don't lend our ears to the song in its entirety, and we don't really pay attention to the form and the structure,
The details.
to the specificities of the drum groove, and even sometimes the little nuances that the guitar player plays, like little accents, the bass player, even the singer, we can miss out on a lot of really cool opportunities to add to the song
Yep.
in a way that maybe we don't hear on the record.
Yeah.
And so I think what I've learned is active listening. Sometimes it's easy to just sit on your hands to resist the temptation of playing when you're learning a song at first. And really just allow your ears to focus and be sold out to the track and give it a couple passes, listen to it a few times, try to pick apart different things, take one listen to see specifically what the hi-hat is doing, then take another one to
Right,
see
yep.
specifically what the
Layer by
snare and then the
layer.
kick and then how it all comes together. Really like dissect these parts. You never know what new things you'll hear that you didn't hear before.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
like
the
I know
details
myself,
matter.
like I'm so guilty of that. Like listen for 8 or 16 measures, and you're like, oh, I got this.
this.
You like start playing along.
No, at this point now, even as like a listener of Prince, I know never to like expect that whatever we're hearing for the first 16 measures is what we're going to get for the next 16 measures. It's simply too unpredictable, especially if you look at some of his more experimental music. Yeah, and the thing is, like, when you're practicing, when you're just getting into the flow of things and, you know, biting down on a song, I think it's perfectly okay to, like, play along with it for the first time, but you'll have to at least at some point hear every single nuance from the expected chart. So however many times you want to listen to the song, you probably shouldn't play along fully with it every single time, but the first few times, great. You know, that is a great approach to feeling a lot of the music, and then on your second pass, when it's looped again, you'll perform even better, and you know, take all the gains where you can until it becomes absolutely necessary to do the active listening. Or you could start with the active listening too. Do it any number of ways, as long as you're doing it all.
But then you end up at like the bridge, and it goes into like
Totally.
7 or a completely
Yep.
different feel or something, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I should have
Whoops.
just listened first, right?
Right, yeah.
That's a great point. The next one you had here is the space is funky too.
Yeah, that's a big one. So another thing that I've kind of noticed for myself and then other drummers throughout the years, I feel like a lot of times we feel the need to jump in right away with everything we have in our arsenal.
Build up.
And there's something to be said about taking your time and sort of building anticipation and allowing
Yeah.
the music and the part to breathe before you just go all in and fill in all the space. One thing that Prince taught me that I will never forget is that the space in between the notes is just as funky as the notes themselves. And so leaving room for the groove.
When you like internalize that truly as a musician, that's where some of the anxiety of not playing all of the right notes goes away. Because oftentimes, like, a tendency will be you play along to a certain section. Let's say I'm on my guitar, I'm playing the solo, and maybe I need to just keep shredding up and down, add that other creative idea. And yes, all of it sounded good, but was it right for the song? You know, you probably could have applied less pressure and selected the right thing to play and got way more yield from that performance.
Just as funky as the notes themselves. And so leaving room for the groove to breathe, for the music to
Yeah.
breathe, there's something really magical about that and beautiful about that. So sometimes really less is more in that regard.
There's one groove you mentioned that you wanted to demo here from the song Kiss.
Yeah.
Prince's like famous tunes.
To be beautiful. Yeah, okay. So you want me to go in?
Yeah,
So
let's do
far,
it.
she's
Okay,
been
so
like
typically-
saying everything that I believe.
I may have even just kind of tried to dive right in with this sort of groove here. funky, it fits. But when he gave me this groove to play, I was like, dang, it's so different, but yet it's not that different, but it's so funky and simple. So check this out. This is what Prince Almighty wanted for the song Kiss. Here we go.
Right. It already has such a unique character to this style. Seemingly less complicated too than the previous.
And that was the whole groove.
Yeah.
And I had to hit that epic, iconic guitar. I did that on the SPDSX.
Really?
So I had to nail that every time, guys. You know how many times it was so dark in the arenas? And we had glow tape on the SPDSX.
Yeah.
But even still, there were just times it just didn't work. I hit the completely wrong pad and there was complete silence for that whole
no.
bar. And I just,
Oh.
you gotta commit, you gotta keep it going, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
power through.
dramatic pause on purpose.
Yes, dramatic pause. Yeah.
That's awesome. And like that groove right there, like so many drummers, like the quarter note grooves.
Yeah.
People, like once you get away from, I mean, beginners typically start there, but once we
Yeah.
move into that like intermediate phase of playing,
Right.
going back to that quarter note pulse is like we don't do it very often.
Yeah,
But
sometimes
there's-
it gets a little uncomfortable, right? Because
Right?
we're so used to filling the space with syncopated rhythms and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like clearly, like there's so much power in the simplicity of a pattern like that.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when combined
Yeah.
with like going into the eighth notes after.
Totally,
I love it.
totally. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
pretty cool groove.
Let's talk about writing parts with
Yeah,
personality.
I like that, and he's asking all of the right questions. So maybe I don't even need to speak here, but I will. Simplicity, complexity. There is just this continuum, and you can increase, you can decrease, and both will work. That's the thing. That is like the unlock for people to start crafting music that has its own identity, has its own character. Because if you're only focused on like filling space to do it, well, then you'll get songs that fill a lot of space. But that's not all that makes up a great composition. That's not what gives a song emotion. There is a certain beating heart to a song with its own personality, with its own interests, likes, dislikes, and whatever that archetype for a song is, that is the kind of music you should create. You should go from that. I mean, there's many ways to songwrite, but that is a wonderful approach to songwriting. It's very identity driven, and then the instruments that kind of sprawl from that identity, they take from those characteristics, and there's a cohesion. If you only do the eighth notes, the triplets, the 16th notes, go super fast, like, yeah, you're great at that, but remember, there's some fundamental tools that may accomplish something similar, if not greater, because again, you've allowed for that space to fill out. So just many different ways to skin the cat. It's important that we craft the best songs that we can, not to just put things in there, but to be deliberate about those decisions.
So
Okay.
to start, like, why don't you talk a little bit about what it was like being in the room recording Plectrum? And because you have some interesting stories about that too.
Basically, we recorded an album without knowing we were recording an album. And it's very common working with Prince to record all the rehearsals. So if we were learning new music, we would hash it out, we would jam, we'd get it to a place where we felt comfortable to record reference tracks, and then we would record these rehearsal takes so that when we came back the next day, or if we needed to revisit it the week later, we would have the references to be able to, like bring it back to memory and move forward and all that sort of stuff. And so it was very common to do these rehearsal takes every day. We had so many rehearsal recordings. Then all of a sudden, Prince comes in one day and he says, we should think about putting an album together with our recordings.
Yeah.
And we all just, which recordings?
Yeah.
Because none of us were going into this with our recording hats on, right?
Right.
As musicians, we typically will enter a rehearsal differently than we would enter a recording session, because we know that rehearsals are a safe place for mistakes. It's for really breaking down grooves, breaking down sections, and you know, it's a little more open and vulnerable
like
in that regard. With recordings, we go in there prepared, we're ready, we've got our game face on, you know, we're going in there trying to find the most perfect and pristine takes. And typically, if we mess up on a recording take, we'll stop right then and there and we'll start over because we want to get one good solid take.
Makes sense.
But that's not what happened here. We were literally, he would kind of give us these parts and also leave a little bit of creative freedom for us to kind of make it our own. And we were literally just jamming and recorded these jams, and then they became the album known as Plectrumelectrum.
More artists need to do that. They need to, and it's easier said than done, but it's okay. The mistakes, the raw feel of the recording in its nascence, without all of the, you know, whitewashing endlessly. Just let the song be in its, you know, kind of native form. I feel like if people can embrace more of the humanness in the music, well, I mean, like things like AI won't even touch music in the same way anymore because, yeah, okay, we don't have to get, let's not get lost in that sauce. It's just important that we recognize when it is performance, emotion is so huge, and emotion is not pretty. Emotion makes mistakes, and, you know, if you want to make people feel through your music, well, you can make them feel via the mechanism of authenticity, of making mistakes, of having this particular piece of content be the only version of itself. That's what I've always said this, but every single Prince performance of a song of his is always its own unique experience, and these are the reasons why.
Recorded these jams, and then they became the album known as Plectrumelectrum.
So let's, like, obviously you knew that album was going to come out eventually.
At some point.
Were there any parts where you're like, oh, I wish I would have done that differently if it wasn't a rehearsal, or I could have planned to do this in a different section or anything like that?
You know, yeah, I feel like we all could do that, right? We're all kind of a little guilty of being our own worst critic in that way. But at the same time, the moment that I would maybe slip into that sort of, well, I should have done something fancier here, or I really wish I would have flexed a little more on that solo, but then it wouldn't have been organic and raw and real for that moment. It wouldn't have been as authentic as Plectrumelectrum is, and I think at the end of the day, that's what we all really wanted. We recorded it all live right there to tape. It was completely analog, and we were in that moment together as a unit, and it really comes across that that album is so warm and raw and organic because that's literally what it was in the studio. So I don't know. I don't think I would change anything about it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Plectrumelectrum solo. There's a whole bunch of like drum breaks in there, and I know I've seen you do it once or twice already, but it's so cool. So writing parts with personality. Clearly your personality's in this part. So let's talk about this part.
Sorry about that. Just kidding.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, so this part, what was really cool is we were in rehearsal and we were kind of putting everything together, and I remember Prince making kind of a nonchalant comment in passing about his favorite drummers are drummers that have personality in their playing. And after he said that, I took that note and was like, I want to be one of his favorite drummers, so I'm going to play everything with personality. And, you know, lo and behold, this opportunity comes to kind of put this part together. And Plectrumelectrum, the single, the song itself, actually it's a really cool story. Donna, the guitar player, Donna Grantis, she's from Canada, she had a song that she wrote with her band before she even came to work with Prince called Electra, I believe. And then Prince heard it, and he asked her if we could put it on Plectrumelectrum. And so Plectrumelectrum actually was initially a Donna Grantis original.
Really?
Okay, I'm like, I'm trying to like follow the...
He took and rearranged, and then it became Plectrumelectrum because it was called Electra to begin with.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how many people know that story, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
that was kind of birthed from the heart of Donna, and then Prince adopted it and rearranged it a little bit, and it became this awesome song and the name of the album. But that's solo
cool
in
origin.
particular, if you haven't heard it yet, you will. I guess in just
Right
a
now?
second, right? Or right now. But it's very quirky. It's not this really big, flashy, fast and really choppy solo, but it is a solo that makes a statement. And that's what I wanted. And I think that's what Prince really liked about it too.
Yeah.
And so I just want to encourage you guys, it doesn't matter how fast you can play, if you can roll all the way back and forth across the toms for solos. All you need is some really cool, solid fills and grooves, and you've got everything that you need.
Yeah.
So you want me to demonstrate that right now?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's see if
I promise, like, this will be the last time I pause, at least for a little bit, and just let it play. But for 20 minutes straight, she just cooked. Pretty much down to the T. Every single musical idea and philosophy that she has shared from either her or Prince, all of these little nuggets of wisdom that have now been imparted on us. I feel very happy and validated to say that I believe pretty much all of it. And it takes the perspective of a musician to be able to experience any amount of this. You can obviously like do a lot with your own intuition, but to then also be in the room with the great Prince and come away with these similar philosophies. This is the like tantamount example of just letting the music be. The goal of music and creation is it's an artistic expression, but it's also one of discovery. There's innately this creative spark that kind of gets lit up in all of us, because when we find that melody that we love and you actually handcrafted it yourself, or that twist on words in your lyric that you were able to write, it is honestly like one of the most pleasurable, satisfying feelings you just ever feel is writing your own music. And when it comes to like making the song the best it can be, a lot of thought goes into it and a lot of overthinking can go into it. But the constant messaging that you'll hear from the people who are as experienced as Hannah, they'll say, soften all of your previous beliefs. Just do what makes sense in the moment. Don't push it any one way or the other. Don't hold on to any external baggage mentally. Just let it kind of out on the kit. You can do a lot. You can do a little. All of these things don't matter. They matter and they don't matter. It's a version of the dating advice you'll hear early on. Just be yourself. That advice rings very different in the ears of a complete, let's say, dating novice, never gone on a date before, versus a dating connoisseur who they know exactly how to be themselves, you know? Just be yourself. Huh? How do I do that? Versus just be yourself. Oh, of course, you know? All right, let's check out the remaining bit.
I remember
Let's
it
see where
without
we
the
go.
music. Okay, here we go.
My hands are going to be flailing throughout this reaction. Dude, I love the isolated drumming.
So just fat triplets, some eighth notes around the tom with one hand. You know, just have fun, explore the kit, and let your personality come through.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You have to discover
There's another
who you are.
groove off of that album with lots of personality, PretzelBodyLogic. Yes. So let's talk about that one. Maybe let's start by playing that groove.
Okay.
And then breaking it down.
Okay. I'll play it how it is on the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the kick. Drummers are always part octopi, right? Like, we've confirmed this.
So that's the verse.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, just some fun bass drum variations that are super Bonham inspired because
Clearly.
who doesn't love Bonham.
Wow.
Exactly.
But
Bonham,
yeah,
that
he
is a-
wanted
that is a
something that
pull.
was fun and fat, but still like a really complicated kick patterns through there. And so I just kind of put on my Bonham hat, and you'll hear that the second verse is totally different than the first verse. I don't really play a lot of the same thing on that record for the verses, and it's just because I wanted to kind of keep people on their toes, you know?
Yeah. So was this one of the songs where when you played this live, you wanted something different?
Yes.
Okay.
So the groove is practically the same. All we did was take the hi-hat from quarter notes to eighth notes. And that's really just in an effort to make things feel like they're driving and they're moving forward with momentum for a live show. You know, you don't want to feel like the song is dragging or anything like that. So even at the same tempo, just adding eighth notes makes it feel a little bit different. It gives it a little more bounce. So I'll go from the original quarter note groove into the eighth notes to show you guys the difference.
Yeah, let's see it. I think it depends on the context in the show, whether or not it makes sense to add the eighth notes. Sometimes, like, again, the space is gonna hit different. Also, the ordering of the songs can impact that dragging feel.
So same tempo, nothing really changed except those eighth notes, but it did make it feel like it was driving a little more.
Totally, yeah. There's way more of a sense of forward motion in that part, right? Just like really driving it.
Yep.
Love it. I know this isn't a part that you wrote, but let's talk.
No, here it comes.
You knew I was going to do this. 777 9311.
Okay.
Talking about parts with personality.
Oh my gosh.
I think this is undoubtedly one of those
I
parts.
want to hear this.
You know, funny enough, Prince made this part, and this is a look into his personality. You never knew what you were going to get with that little guy. He was just so funny and, you know, would pop up on you at any given moment, wearing something goofy or saying something goofy. And he really was, even just the concept of being out on the road. He didn't like to plan a lot. He didn't like to promote a lot, and didn't think too far into the future. And so we were in Amsterdam. We played our 3rd Eye Girl show in Amsterdam, and Prince called our hotel room, and Joshua answered, and he said, "You guys want to go to Portugal?" That's literally how we ended up going from Amsterdam to Portugal on the same tour. So this drum part literally does shine a little bit of light on who Prince was.
Like that
You just never knew what you were going to get. But it was so fun. Life is like a box of chocolates, right?
That's right.
Okay, so you want me to play this? Okay.
All
right. Pray for me.
Oh. Okay. Wow. I want to hear that again. All those fast hits on the hi-hat. What a odd pattern in the kick drum.
Did you hear it? I played the eighth note.
That is
like
so
playing drums to just
in the
figure all
best
this
way
stuff
possible.
And it's there's a lot of pressure. I don't feel pressure a lot of times with certain grooves, but this one, because it's so iconic and complicated, I do feel a little bit of that, okay, here we go. Buckle up.
For any of you out there who are into...
There are videos that I think people need to do this more, so feel free to steal this idea because the content is worth not getting the credit for the original. But if there can be a video assembled of like different musicians and them recounting like all of their most difficult to play parts, I would love to see it. It can be for any one individual. It can be for several individuals. It's just interesting to hear it from their perspectives. You'll hear even in like the Drumeo and piano episodes, some of the musicians, they will talk about what is difficult for them to play and not, like Hannah is here. I just find it so fascinating to see like what's actually more difficult for them to play, or at least psychologically in their own minds. Is it something that's extremely virtuosic? Is it something that's more polyrhythmic? Is it something that's simple? And it could be a number of things. Depends on the instrument, depends on who we're asking. That's why I want those videos to exist. Please.
A little bit of that, okay, here we go.
Maybe I should make them.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
For any of you out there who are into transcribing drum parts, that is up there as one of those that's going to take you a while to complete.
Yeah. And you know what's really cool is Prince even told me he made this part on a drum machine. And so that's why it's really hard for humans, for actual drummers, to be able to decipher it and perform it the way that it is on the record, because we're not machines, right? We're not robots that can be sort of programmed in that way. And so just the little nuances and hiccups and just in the feel of the original groove, it's hard to really bring that to life acoustically, but it's a lot of fun to try.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into, I know you have a bunch of tracks.
That's why
here,
composition is so
and
hard.
One that I know you want to
If you don't
play
play the
is Ain't
instrument.
About to Stop by Prince.
Yes.
So why don't you talk a little bit about that song, and then we'll have you play it.
Yeah, so this song is on the album Hit and Run Phase 1. And it was one of the last couple albums that Prince released, so it's more of his recent work. And what's so special about this album to me is that my husband actually produced this entire record from start to finish. And Prince hardly touched the music of all of these tracks. And that's a very rare thing for Prince to not come in and really kind of take over and add a lot musically. It says a lot about how he trusted Joshua, and that really blesses my heart. I'm such a proud wife when I listen to it because they did not come to play with this album. Joshua is the only person in Prince history to actually share the written, arranged, composed, performed by writing credits on the album. So if you go and you look up Hit and Run Phase 1, or you see it in the store and you look on the record, it'll say literally Joshua Welton and Prince. And you know,
amazing.
at that time, I think he was 25, 26.
Wow.
You know, producing a legend, and he's the only one to do it in Prince's 40-year career.
That's incredible.
It says a lot, and I love my hubby. So, mwah. This is Ain't About to Stop.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yes.
Oh. Dude, this is an alien groove. Yo. I'm like, I don't know how to describe this, almost like Lacuna Coil. It's so rhythmic. It's like an electronic Lacuna Coil-y, Brockhampton-y. Whoa, dude, this is so interesting. The fact that the drums fit to this, but they're like kind of like a rocking groove rather than something more electronic. There's a really cool blending of genres. Dude, this is hype. I don't know how to describe this genre though. I have attempted. But it's very fresh sound. I've heard this kind of build up in like J-rock music. This is interesting. Come on, come on. The dual guitar harmony. You heard that, right? You heard the scream in there? And then in enters the funk. Dude. This is akin to like some of the prog metal you'll hear by like the likes of Caligula's Horse, Porcupine Tree, some Riverside. And then if you have like a Daft Punk or Pentatonic Bent, something with a bit of soul too. I don't know. This is like 12 genres in one, guys. Wow. I'm so impressed by this. My mic is getting it today. I mean, how sick was that? Jesus Christ. What a funky song.
That's awesome.
Man.
Like
For
7
any of you
different
who
styles.
think Prince is just like straight ahead pop music,
Y'all.
there's also that. Like,
I don't know who
you
thinks
know,
it's just straight up pop music.
double bass.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much. What's
technique
really
is
cool
just
about Prince,
on
and I say
point.
this a lot, is that for anyone who didn't really like seek him out and study him and appreciate him for the artist that he is, all we really know about him at that point is what did become mainstream and what was pop, and that's only just
Yeah, it scratches
the tip of the
surface.
iceberg of who he was as a musician, as a songwriter, as a vocalist. The guy was a genius. And all the shows that we played, I mean, I don't know that I ever heard an off note from his voice, you know, and his singing. Just, it was always top of the
One
line,
of a
first
kind.
class. And he really, from rock to jazz to all the different instruments, piano, guitar, drums, bass, singing, he mastered them all.
Yeah.
And nobody touched any of those instruments the way that he did. It's
Right.
just the truth.
Yeah. Speaking of Prince on bass,
That's,
you got to
I'm glad that she is just echoing everything that I have arrived at over the course of my Prince journey. It's mastery in so many disciplines that they're not unrelated from one another, but to have that level of skill, if you are the average person who can still sink in 10,000 hours into this creative craft, he is like 50 times as efficient or something, because he just excels at everything so effortlessly. And it's not just an excelling. His identity is so amorphous. It is so hard to like tell you 50 things that he's great at, because there's like 150, there's 350. The more that you uncover about how good he is as an artist, how good he is as a player, a writer, at composition, each of those little sub skills he is expert at, each and every single one of them. My camera doesn't like me right now. I'm going to pause the reaction at this point and then we'll jump back into it. All right, let's hope it doesn't crash again. Let's jump back into it, guys.
Instruments the way that he did. It's just the truth.
Yeah. Speaking of Prince on bass, you got to duel with bass, or with him on bass while you're on drums, live.
Sure did. What?
No big deal.
No big deal. That was really cool because initially when we wrote that drum and bass part in, it was for me and Ida, the bass player from 3rd-Eye-Girl. And
which song?
yeah, it was in
that
Stratus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So we all kind
one
of
of the
loved
first
to
Prince
play
songs I ever
Stratus. What's
heard.
really cool about the magic of Stratus is that there's video footage of me playing Stratus with other people before I met Prince. There's video footage of Donna playing Stratus in other jazz clubs before she started working with Prince. And then Prince brought Stratus to the table when we were all jamming together. And so it was just like this deep level connections in Stratus for whatever reason. But I think we all really loved that song and loved to jam it so much because we all really appreciated jazz. And that really allowed us to stick with, you know, the sort of heavy rooted rock vibe that 3rd-Eye-Girl was, but it also allowed us to kind of venture off into some more fusiony, jazzy, open-ended solos. We never knew how long the song was going to go. It was very free form, just kind of like setting different ideas in motion in real time and going along with whoever was taking the lead at that point.
Yeah.
And at some point, eventually, Prince started picking up the bass during the drum and bass part. At first, was definitely very intimidating, but I also loved the challenge.
Yeah.
And so he would just he'd grab Ida's bass, he'd come over and kind of stand right in front of the drum riser and would sort of prop his foot up there all cool, you know, like only Prince would.
Yeah, exactly.
And he'd just go for it, and he would play these rhythmic phrases, and then I would kind of respond back on the drums in some way, and we'd kind of just feed off of each other, and then he would walk away and kind of give me the opportunity to finish expressing myself in sort of an open solo vibe. So
Yeah,
That's
there's
amazing.
for any of you who are interested in checking that out, there's a great clip on YouTube that you can find of Hannah dueling with Prince on bass. It's pretty cool.
it's so fun.
And soloing, we actually filmed a full video coming out in January on open soloing, and you're going to see kind of the idea of what Hannah did coming out of that Stratus solo section into this crazy
yeah, y'all
solo.
are gonna want to see that.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Let's get right back into some of these main points of things that you learned with Prince. And the next one is 2 of Prince's favorite fills.
Yeah.
that you still use.
I do still use, especially when I'm playing funk grooves. I kind of call them hiccup fills.
Okay.
Because they almost sound like an accident.
Pickup or hiccup fills?
I kind of call them hiccup fills.
Hiccup.
Okay.
Because they almost sound like an accident. It almost sounds like a mistake, but you just kind of keep it pushing and it fits and it's so funky and gross. And every
Gross is a
time
good
I went
descriptor
into
for
these
that.
fills, Prince would react in some way. It was really funny. It didn't matter where he was on the stage. If I would throw out one of these fills, he'd turn around and like just give the nastiest face. There's actually footage of that too. You do see his face a little bit when he turns back around. But
Yeah, I wanted to
when we were on Arsenio Hall,
to show us.
I think it was Mutiny on Arsenio Hall at some point
pretty
as
sure I
the
listened to
band
that.
is jamming. It's one with all the horns and the big band. I do one of these fills and he turns around and then
The
just
stank
turns right back
face
around
of
and
all
gets back to what he was
stanks.
doing. But okay, so the first one.
Oh yeah.
So it almost feels like a little. Oops.
Wow. I want to hear from the beginning.
So it almost feels like a little. Oops.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a stumble into it, right?
And what's really cool, one thing that Prince really taught me
Yeah,
is
you're, like,
anytime you
falling
have
into it a
two
bit.
bass
I like that.
drum hits that are kind of consecutive and fast like this, always
'Cause it feels like a
emphasize the
perfect
second
recovery.
one. Or say if you're playing on the downbeat with another groove, like "Thank you for letting me be myself," Sly and the Family Stone. This is one thing that Prince taught me with that groove. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Right.
You can kind of feel that ebb and flow in the kick pattern. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Oh, I like that
Right?
she's
It's like a
demonstrating
dance.
this.
And so that's one thing that he taught me. So with that fill, right, that last one has more of the oomph. The first one's kind of like
It's
a
like
pickup or
a
something.
mini gallop in there.
So that's the first groove. And then the second one is even more hiccupy. It's literally, let me just go from a groove.
Sweet.
Oh, it's like you hold it up there for just an extra moment. Yeah, and then you just like let it hang for a while.
That sort of just playing the upbeats and that space that we were talking about, but it's so funky.
Yeah,
That lets the
it's so funky, and when you hit the re-entry with the entire band, it is so insane to experience. Because like as a listener, you don't know if it's going to be a 5-beat rest or if it's going to be a 7-beat rest or 3 or 1. You just know that the drummer has you in that building of anticipation. They just got you in a chokehold.
upbeats and that space that we were talking about, but it's so funky. And it lets the track breathe, it lets the groove
Right.
breathe just a minute. And that's another one of those that if he was, I would kind of do it where he was in the middle of walking to the other side of the stage, because every time I would lay into that fill right there and make him do a little gallop, because it's just so
just love
funky in the
thinking
middle
about
of
it
this
now.
fat groove.
Yeah.
So
It's-
those are two.
I think that's just another kind of like demonstration of the power of simplicity.
Yeah.
Right? Like we talked about
Yes,
that
yes,
with like
yes.
the quarter note grooves on the hats, but the space in those, and you're not like playing flurries around the toms or
No.
anything like that. It's so simple but so
Yep.
powerful at the same time. right?
Totally. Less is more, y'all. It's just kind of about nailing it and sitting it in the right place. It's
Yeah.
placing the simple thing
Placement.
that you do in the right place that says a lot.
Yeah. Let's talk about, this is a big one, commit.
Commit. I had to do that a couple times in the opening performance. Yeah, so one big thing, and it was a lesson that I had to learn because I had always growing up really bummed myself out if I messed up, made a mistake, missed a symbol, or, like even just as a young girl, I remember sometimes
Lean
getting
into it.
overwhelmed with emotion and kind of melting down if I made a mistake while I was playing or playing a part. And so once I
happens.
started working with
Yeah.
Prince, I remember there were a couple times, even in rehearsals, where if I would, miss a cue or miss a crash or, just kind of fluff my part and mess up and whatever, I would really wallow in it. And then like the rest of the song, I would have a stank face and just be mad at myself, beating myself up over it. And he would say, no, just commit and move forward. If you mess up, leave it in the past and keep going. Don't take it with you into the next section of the song or into the performance, into the next song itself of the show. That can really affect the chemistry and the energy and the overall spirit of the show if you wallow in a mistake.
Right.
So what he said was commit. If you go to the ride cymbal in a section of the song where you're supposed to be on the hi-hat, don't switch halfway through that section.
Exactly.
Commit to the ride cymbal. And 9 times out of 10, the only one that knows that you messed up is you,
yourself.
right? The audience, they're not going to pick apart your part that specifically to where they know, oh, he was supposed to be or she was supposed to be on the hi-hat in this section and went to the crash or the ride. Just commit, move forward, keep a smile on your face, and it's easy peasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
no,
it.
That's
And
such
that
a
goes,
great mentality around performance. And what's crazy is I'm sure she may have even felt this at some point in her musical career, but you can be by yourself practicing in a room alone and you can be beating yourself up because you're not nailing the exact phrasing or messing up a certain flurry like she's suggesting here. I mean, for drums, it's going to be different. I'm a guitarist and that life, it looks a little bit different. But when you're in that practice room by yourself, that is one of the most important places that you give yourself all of that grace you need. And I definitely never really knew how to give myself grace. I would always beat myself up for these mistakes. And I always wondered, like, why do I have anxiety around trying to perform this part? Yes, it's hard, but it's okay to make mistakes in music because the whole point of practice is to get you to that perfect place. And perfection, that doesn't matter anyways because you want to express your character through your part rather than be beholden to hitting some exact standard. It's not a real thing, and you need to extend that mentality as Hannah did in your true performance with the big band, because if you're having complete meltdowns and things aren't going perfect, well, welcome to life. Things aren't always going to be sunshine and daisies. If you can make the mistake but roll with the punches, it's going to be far more fluid and you'll be more malleable. You'll be able to jump right back into that headspace of, oh, I've actually got it. I just made a mistake before, as she said, rather than wallowing in it.
Forward, keep a smile on your face, and it's easy peasy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. And that goes so much further than just playing drums, right?
Right,
you're going to
yeah.
do something,
It's
right?
everything.
That's a life lesson.
Yep.
That
There's
you
a lot of
probably,
those.
Right? That's such a deep one, but so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, for
Especially for us as drummers. And lastly, prepare and perform for shows as though it's a live recording.
Yes. So anybody that knows
Okay.
Prince knows that he did not really appreciate live shows being recorded on phones, mainly because the quality is just not as good, and it doesn't serve the artist or the performers who work so hard to put the show together, and then at the same time, it doesn't leave the audience really walking away with quality either. He much rather would have had everyone in the moment, engaged, hands in the air, energy going back and forth. It was electric in
Just be
these
connected
rooms,
there.
whether we were playing the intimate clubs or even the big arenas, because a lot of times people really did honor that request of not recording at the shows. Put your phones down, turn them off, just participate in the show, engage, sing along with us, be here in this moment with us, because this could possibly be the only moment we have together, and we're all here to celebrate this amazing music, to be in one sort of mind and
I love this
spirit,
perspective.
as we're really honoring the music and the vision and the artistry that is Prince. And our shows really were so electrifying that at any given moment you could miss something if you were so
True.
focused on your phone.
True.
And so he prepared us to kind of be in the mindset of, even though we make that request to not record and to not have phones out, somebody somewhere is going to have a phone out.
Of course.
And so at that point, even though we make that request, we still have to go into every show as if it's a recording session. Go into every show with our bodies prepared, with our parts. We're in shape. We know what we're doing. We're prepared physically, but also our minds, just our focus being
Right.
so gridlocked on what we're doing, what each other is doing, what we're doing as a collective. And, just watching him for the cues, it was like we were going in every show for a recording because we knew at some point it was going to get bootlegged.
Yeah, that's a great mindset to go into. And whether you're
Yeah.
playing like massive shows or even those shows just for 20 people.
Right.
Right? Like going in with that focused mindset to perform as best you can, right? And really be in the moment.
Yeah.
Make it be the best it can be.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'd love right now, I know there's a few other things we're going to get to, but I'd love to just hear you play like some grooves around the kit.
Okay.
Like let's just hear some playing. Let's hear
I'm
this
down.
kit.
All right.
And I know everyone in the chat is just like obsessed with the sound of it.
Oh,
So
yay! Great
Oh, this is
for
a
me.
live stream.
let's
Okay.
I
let's
guess
hear
it
some stuff.
was.
Okay, we'll do this. We'll play a little game, and we'll see if people. Here you go. Throwing you for a loop now.
I'm watching the chat.
Okay. We'll see if you guys can name these iconic grooves. Okay.
Perfect.
The
I
names
love
of the
it.
grooves
So
or the songs?
here goes the first one.
Let's try. Oh God, this is gonna be hard for me. I need some melody around it.
Okay, so that's groove number 1. Y'all remember that? I know there's a little bit of a delay, so we're gonna go on to groove number 2, which is gonna be different. So y'all throw out, make sure you say groove 1 is this. Groove 2 is this, okay? Here we
Yes.
go.
Oh gosh. All right. What's the second now? Oh, that's cool. I think I like the second groove a bit better. Naming these grooves, good. Someone better let me know.
Groove number 3. Ooh, I'll try this one for you guys. Put myself on the spot here.
Number 3. Oh, I really like this one. I feel like if I have to like rank the different pieces of drum kit, I really love the hi-hat and the kick drum. And maybe snare
That
in
one.
Okay.
that order.
Let's see.
So we've got a few in the chat.
Okay, let's see. What was groove number 1?
Joshua Winston Jacob says, "I feel good."
Yes!
Nice, Joshua.
Nice. Number two
Okay.
was
It was Jungle Boogie.
Jungle-
Jungle Boogie.
such a great song.
Yes, yeah. So,
Number 3, Funky Drummer. There was a whole bunch of
Yes, oh,
people
of
who
course,
got that
right
one,
away.
of course.
those are some fun grooves for you guys. Just
Awesome.
kind of putting the kit on display a little more.
So as we start to wrap up here, I mean, we've talked about so many stories that you
Yeah.
have from playing with Prince, and there's 2 that I asked you to share that I thought were just like so cool
Yeah,
that
okay.
I thought everyone would appreciate to hear coming from you.
Yeah.
And the first was the ping pong story.
Okay. So,
Prince is a
y'all, there's
he's a
so many funny
sportsman.
stories about some of my first encounters with Prince, but this one in particular, I flew out to Paisley by myself, meeting him for
My
the first
dad was
time.
into ping pong too.
And I was escorted into the studio to a drum set that was set up. And, you know, when you think about Prince and someone of that caliber and that level of just iconistry, if that's not a word, I just made that up.
Iconography?
Someone of that caliber, you think that he's surrounded with an entourage and security and people posted at every door to make sure that they keep him safe. It was not like that at all. He had doves in a cage, and you can hear them singing throughout all of Paisley, and it was so magical and surreal in there. But I literally was escorted into the studio. There was a drum set in there. No one else was in there. I was by myself. And then all of a sudden, he comes walking into the room alone. And it was just me and him, Prince. And first thing he says to me is, "Hi, thank you for coming. I'm Prince. Do you play ping pong?" No,
That's a
I
great
play the
opener.
drums. That is why I'm here, sir.
Priceless.
And so I said, you know, I'm not good, but I'll play and I'll have fun. You know,
Yeah.
I'll play you, but I'm not good.
I love the
And so that was
non-serious
the
intro
story. That was the
openers.
very first thing he said to me. "Hi, I'm Prince. Do you play ping pong?" We went through extreme training at Paisley.
In ping pong?
Musically, of course, but yes, he trained up a warrior crew of ping pong masters. That's so much so,
So
like,
good.
for my birthday, 3rd Eye Girl rallied up and got me a ping pong table and brought it to my house for my birthday. And so
That's
now
crazy.
Joshua and I have a full-on, like, real ping pong table. It's so
Great.
much fun. It's so much fun.
One other story that you had was the Purple Rain story from Louisville.
Oh,
that show you
gosh.
played.
Yeah, so for basically my entire time with Prince, any opportunity I got to kind of hint at going back to Louisville for a show, I threw it out there. And finally, we went, and it was in 2015. It was, I think, one of the last 3 or 4 shows that we did in 2015. And it was so amazing. If I have any Louisville people, any of my hometown family, thank you so much for showing up and turning out, because from everything, top to bottom, getting to the city was so smooth. Sound check, the sound, just how the venue was laid out, everything was perfect. The sound was beautiful, which is a huge deal in the Prince world. The audience, the fans, y'all came, and your energy, we felt like the roof was gonna blow off of that place. And so the response from the crowd to the stage, it gave us so much to work with that we just literally, we gave all of ourselves in those, I think it was 4 shows over 2 nights. And I don't remember which show specifically it was out of those 4, but we closed it with Purple Rain. And there's always a part in Purple Rain Live where the band kind of drops low in dynamics, and he starts to speak to the audience and kind of says, thank you so much for having us, we loved it, and blah, 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 and kind of the goodbye, the farewell of the night. And in this moment where everyone is listening and it's like magical, it's right before the epic guitar solo, he says, 2 of my favorite people are from here, Muhammad Ali and Hannah Welton. And when he said that, y'all, I started bawling. I'm sure my mom and dad were crying out there. I had family out there. And everyone just, it was so amazing. And then, of course, he goes into the shredding guitar solo, and everyone's singing the,
Damn.
it was just amazing. It couldn't have been more perfect for a hometown show for this, country girl. And so that was a really beautiful moment. It's a memory I'll cherish forever, to even be named with the likes of Muhammad Ali in regards to 2 of Prince's favorite people. What?
You take that. You take those.
So, yeah.
But clearly, there's a reason he said that. You're an incredible drummer. You're an incredible communicator.
Very much so.
But also a great person, right? And he obviously hired the people that he wanted to spend time around. So
yeah, that's true.
There's no doubt in my mind why he said that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
As we wrap up here, I know we have one more track for all of you, which is a really cool one. It's a funk medley.
Yes.
But before we do that, is there any final parting words or advice that you want to leave the drum community with?
Hannah's great.
Yeah, you know,
Love
guys,
her.
at the end of the day, or gals, at the end of the day, this is all just an art form, right? Art is just an extension of who you are as a person. And in a day and age where we lack so much authenticity and just realness and natural, everything is over-filtered, over-produced. You know, people are hungry and searching for authenticity and things that they can connect with. And so I just want to encourage all of you, as you're exploring the kit, no matter where you are in your journey, if you're a beginner or you're an intermediate or advanced professional, whatever it is, remember to stay true to who you are as a person. Stay true to your authenticity and let who you are shine through your expression on this amazing instrument that we have the privilege to play. I hope you guys enjoyed this live lesson. I'm so honored that you all joined me, and I also hope that you enjoy the masterclass. Yeah.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much for coming to Drumeo. It was an honor to have you in the studio, and I know we're filming some more stuff tomorrow too.
Whatever,
but January,
love her.
There's lots of stuff coming in January from Hannah, and you're not going to want to miss that. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to head into the control room.
Okay.
And this is a funk medley that Hannah's going to play you out with.
Okay.
And we'll see you all later.
Yeah, we'll see you guys. Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you, Drumeo. You guys are amazing.
Are we going to get to hear it? I sure hope so. Okay, good. There's always that chance that the video ends early, but here we go. All right, we're rocking 4/4, but this is already complicated as ever. Great fills. transition. A bit more bass in those kicks. Dude, I love that she always has a smile on her face. She has like perfect teeth, she's just beaming. I love it. I love that the feel of the drums there was like trailing the melody. Nice. She is like perfectly right behind. She's behind, but she's like on target too. It's a weird way to feel about it. That was the most satisfying moment so far. She's such a versatile player. Oh, I like this section. Very open, expansive. If you were in a prog world, you could go a number of ways. If we're in a pop world, you could also take it a different way. It's just a very flexible section, fertile soil for so much. So the soul in this is just building and building. The delay into that crash, bro. I love it. All of these liberties she's taking. Swinging the feel around the one and then giving it to you all the same after the fact. What is going on? Alright, it's a medley. I forgot. Wow. This is the part where everybody is on the stage with Prince just dancing along. You hear the bass in that? It's so many cool moments. I can't put words to any of them. I just think they're awesome. It's borderline absurd. I mean, hands, her feet, they are all just different things. They all have different brains. But they're so coordinated. Oh, what is this? Oh my god. What on earth was that? I don't even know what that was. What is the time signature there? Wow, that's 4/4. That's incredible. Oh my word. Dance break. Well deserved dance break. Incredible. Dude, I feel like I am just like a fly on the wall right now. All of a sudden I remembered I was boiling tea. She could do every genre at this point. So let's hear some blast metal out of her. Okay, Hannah Welton is a beast. No wonder Prince picked her up for the Third-Eyed Girl to play alongside someone who, you know, you yourself have immense talent and creative expression. You want someone who is as open-minded as you are, even more so maybe, to take good direction and again sprawl the sort of creative ideas as they unfold, not as an individual but as a collective, and then as an individual. And depends on your songwriting approach. You can go individual first and then introduce more instruments into the fold, or go as a collective, but it is such a dynamic process. My feeling, and I think it gets echoed by Hannah and many other artists too, is that one creative process will look different from another, and they can all be on the same album. It's one of the glorious things about music, is that you can arrive at many different conclusions from many different pathways, and there doesn't have to be this endless need for optimization or finding some objectively correct place or objectively best process, because inherently objectivity does not exist in art. And what does exist is free-flowing, pure human expression. That's what you get when you listen to Prince. That's exactly what we're getting listening to Hannah just unload all of her personality onto the kit. I love that description of playing, because the best players, they have all of the techniques mastered. They can do all of the styles, all of the genre blending. For a drummer, all the polyrhythms and crazy feels and switch-ups and tempos, and all of that is already in your wheelhouse. What sets you apart when all of those things are accounted for is does that sound belong to you? And with art too, it's not even about ownership necessarily, but having such a unique signature that nobody else could think no one else can think like anybody else could play your part the way that you do. That is that special sauce. That's why, like, any contact with Prince, it feels so refreshing for the artist, especially because he's exactly that kind of guy who allows the art to be exactly what it is, however dynamic of an approach you took to get there, however crazy the song is on the surface, or your expectations of how that song is supposed to sound, or how that process is supposed to go. You throw every little piece of that out the window and just be in the moment with him. God, it's so fun listening to just anyone in the Prince universe. I feel like every experience I've had with singers, with drummers, with guitarists that have aided Prince in his performance and his songwriting, they all speak so highly of him, and they all learn so much from him, and you can tell that Prince's influence carries on in their playing. This was an awesome video. Thank you for sending this one my way, Samantha. I hope you all enjoyed the reaction today. If you did and would like to request one yourself, you can always do so by using the first link in the description box below. But thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace. Rest in peace, Prince.